The Sephora Kids are seeing the ramifications of their actions, and parents are realizing that, not all skincare is meant for 9-year-olds. When we get to Science News today, we're going to talk about this photo that was posted in order to warn parents that not all skincare at Sephora is good for kids. I feel like we knew this, but it is starting to come out. So what did this kid do wrong? What products were they using that they shouldn't have been using? And what do the parents think about it? Whose fault do they think it is? And what do they think the solution is? I will give you a heads up and a hint. I don't agree with the parents on this one. And I don't know about you, but this past week, I was riveted by the story of Reesa Teesa and her relationship with a compulsive liar. It has been all over social media. And as I'm listening to this, I really wanted to talk to you about it, but I couldn't find an angle that I could bring this into What's Up in Makeup because I have so many thoughts. And then I found the angle, and it has to do with Susan Yara. Of all people. If you are not familiar, Susan Yara is the founder of Naturium Skincare. It's a whole backstory. We'll get into it, but she is now involved in the Reesa Teesa story. I also want to share with you some recent hirings of some influencers and celebrities that have been brought on as beauty brand ambassadors. I think these three are particularly interesting. And we'll also talk about an EU probe that looked at influencers, about 700 of them, and found out, big shocker, not a lot of them are disclosing their sponsorships. But I have a feeling there's more to this story than what the headline says. I'm really looking forward to sharing with you my take on this. I do think the data is a bit skewed, but we'll talk about it. Hang tight. We're about to get into it right now. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to What's Up in Makeup, where we talk about everything that happened in the beauty space, in beauty news, all in one place. But before we talk about beauty news, industry news, we do need to take just a moment to thank this week's sponsor. Hello, my friend. Welcome back to my bathroom. Today's video is very kindly sponsored by Proven. Y'all know I'm always on the hunt for even better skincare, but the question, even for an ingredient nerd like me, is what is the best skincare specifically for me? There's all kinds of good skincare, but is it good for me? Wouldn't it be fabulous to have your very own dermatologist and cosmetic chemist working together to develop a skincare line specifically for you and what you want and what you need? Not only that, taking into consideration things like your heritage and where you live. What is the UV index this time of year? What is the humidity? How hard is your water? Somebody to do all of that personalization for you. That is what Proven does. And they do all of that without you having to make an appointment and then drive to the appointment and then pay for the appointment. Instead, you fill out a skin quiz, and that skin quiz evaluates 47 factors that then are evaluated to develop your personalized skincare routine. Proven's system is patented, so you won't see this anywhere else. And this is the personalized skincare routine. Everybody gets the same type of product. So everyone will get a personalized moisturizer with SPF, a cleanser, and a night cream. And we've talked 100 times about how these are the three products. If you have no other products in your skincare routine, these are the ones that everybody should have. The quiz that I took to decide what ingredients would go into these bottles was very, very easy. It's talking about yourself, who doesn't love talking about themselves? I love talking about myself. So it was very, very easy. And really what it comes down to for my skincare routine as a 45-year-old is that I'm looking for anti-aging stuff for the most part. I want to minimize fine lines and wrinkles. I want to maintain my skin thickness. That's what I basically told them through my skin quiz. When I got the box, the first thing that I noticed was the ingredients that they put into the products, because they include these cards in here that are personalized to what they chose for you. So for example, with the night cream, so this is my personalized ingredient list that has directions on what I need to do, and it tells me all the things. We've got marula oil, we've got Matrixyl 3000, we've got COQ10, of course, we've got some Gran Active retinol in here. I mean, I was like, yes, Like, I get these things. They're all there. But what's really cool about this is that when I go to re-up on it, when the seasons have changed, my formula could change depending on new needs that I have, depending on the weather of where I am at. I'm going to be traveling a lot this summer and fall, so that will probably make a difference as far as what kind of skincare they will formulate for me. Proven recommends updating your skincare routine about every 6 to 12 weeks, but it is totally up to you how often you want to get a new routine, or if you just want to stick to the exact same products. And I did not know this when I partnered with Proven, is that everybody also gets a free gift with purchase. And I got a little micellar water, and it's been a minute since I've used micellar water to remove my makeup, so I'm really excited to try this. I actually haven't tried this one yet. Because this is a sponsored video, Proven was kind enough to give us a discount code. It is on the screen now. There's also a clickable link in the video description that will get you your 3-step personalized skincare routine for $99. So thank you again to Proven for sponsoring this video. You all know I love filtering through and picking the brands that I feel like are really providing a good service with good quality products to share with you. And with that being said, my friend, it is now time for What's Up in Makeup. All right, so we're starting off with the top news stories. We're going to start with that Reesa Teesa story, then we'll go into the ambassador stories. After that, we're hitting up legal stories, then science, and then I'm ending it with a really cute little lighthearted thing for you. So that's the plan. Let's jump into it. If you have been actively online this past week and have gotten through the entire week without seeing Reesa Teesa's face and the Who the F Did I Marry series, I am shocked. If you've been offline, yeah, then I get it. But it's been everywhere. It's been on YouTube. It's been on TikTok, of course, because that's where the series was originally posted. It's been on Instagram. There's people talking about it on Twitter. It is freaking everywhere. It was even trending on Twitter, or X. What are we calling it? I still can't get used to calling the thing X. I feel like it's going to change back to Twitter at some point, so I'm not committing to the X name. Anyway, if you are not familiar, if you haven't been engrossed in the internet this week because maybe you had other things going on, I will give you the quick summary. So this is Reesa. Reesa put out a 50-part, you heard me correctly, 50-part story on TikTok about her relationship with a compulsive liar. And I will tell you, I was skeptical at first myself. I didn't think that I would be engaged in it. And the next thing I knew, I was just listening the whole time. I'm riveted by the storytelling. And a lot of the reason why I was so interested in the story was because of Reesa herself. She's just a very likable person, in my opinion. I feel like she's very open and honest about admitting when she made mistakes, admitting that the story just isn't going to make her look good at times, but she's okay with that because she wants to give an accurate picture. So she goes through the story in chronological order of how she met him, how they ended up moving in very quickly due to the pandemic, how he ended up tricking her into thinking he was going to provide all these things for her because he had this really good lucrative job and he was paying the bills, a lot of the bills for her, and he was going to buy her a BMW. He was going to take her on her dream trip to Europe. He was going to buy them a $700,000 house. All of these things, they would go house hunting, they would go car shopping, and he would get her really excited only for her to find out that it just wasn't happening for one reason or another. So it was a constant roller coaster with him until eventually she found out through different ways pretty much everything he had told her about himself was a lie. And at this point, they were married, so this was very jarring and shocking to her. She knew that there were little lies, but she didn't realize how deep it went. And I will tell you, my summary, the summaries you read online are not the full experience. That's like reading the Cliff's Notes. That's like watching the trailer for a movie. That's like watching a movie review without actually reading the book or seeing the movie. It is a totally different experience when you let Reesa take you through her own story. So I will encourage you to watch the entire 50-part series. I know that's not 100% possible, but if somebody's told you the summary is enough, I strongly disagree. Anyway, how is this related to Susan Yara? Like I was saying earlier, Reesa's ex, who she calls Legion, which I have a feeling has to do with, in the Bible, they call a legion as a group of demons. I imagine that's where she got it from. Anyway, so Legion had promised her he was going to take her on this dream trip to Europe, to London and Paris. And she never got to go, obviously, because he didn't have money to take her there. Now that the series is over and people were stuck to their phones or they're putting it on their TVs or whatever, people are now offering to help her make her dreams come true. And one of those people that has offered to help her is Susan Yara. Now, I do have a full video on how Susan Yara chose to launch her brand Naturium quite a few years ago. I want to say it was like 2020, something like that, when she launched Naturium. The whole story is basically she just didn't tell anybody that it was her brand, which was against FTC regulations. That's a whole different story I'm not going to get into, but if you want the backstory on Susan Yara and kind of how I felt about that particular thing, I will link that video down below for you. But what you need to know now is that she still is involved with Naturium. She doesn't own it anymore. They sold the brand, but she's still very actively involved and was extremely successful in profiting off of the work that she put into Naturium. I'm just going to go ahead and play Susan's video for you now that she posted on TikTok.
Guys, can you just do me a favor? Will you tag Reesa Teesa here, because I want to send her to London, just on my own personal time. I was so intrigued by her story. My husband and I sat there on the sofa flinging the TikToks, not flinging, mirroring the TikToks on the television just so we could watch this. And I feel like we connected. We're besties, and I would love to send her to London on my own dime. I will treat her and her girlfriend to a wonderful experience because I think she deserves it. And she has shared so much of her life with all of us, such a big moment in her life. So I want to treat her. I know I've seen people saying that they want to like crowd fund and do all that stuff. You guys, I'm just going to send her. I love her. I'm obsessed. So tag her. I try to send her some messages. I'm sure that she's getting so many messages. There are no strings attached. I just want to treat her.
So that was 5 days ago. 4 days ago, so the day after this went live, Reesa posted this.
Part 52 of why the I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Don't worry. But guess what, guys? I'm going to London and Paris. I'm so excited. It is official. I get to go to London and Paris, the two cities I have been wanting to go to since I was in high school. And you guys, I'm going to make the most of this trip. I want to see Westminster Abbey. I want to see the Tower of London. I want to see Buckingham Palace. What up, Charles? I'm trying to see it all. Then I'm trying to catch a flight over to Paris, or should I take a train? I want to see the Eiffel Tower. I want to see the Palace of Versailles, the Hall of Mirrors. I want to see the Louvre. I want to eat an eclair at a nice French cafe. And before you guys even ask, of course I'm taking you with me. Of course I'm going to document everything and do a series on it. Now, don't worry. It won't be 50 parts, but what it will be is entertaining and it will be thorough. And you know it'll be detailed and descriptive.
Susan did clarify in the comments under her TikTok. She said, quote, side note, I'm saying a full paid trip, not just a portion of the trip. Now, we don't know if Susan is the reason why Reesa is going to Europe. We don't know. And the reason why we don't know is it seems like a lot of people are offering for Reesa to go on this trip. If you look in the comment section next to part 52 of Reesa's series, it's Delta Airlines said specifically, your trip of a lifetime needs to start with Delta One. Flights on us, winky face. And then Hilton Hotels commented, you want to do the most and we're the hottest with the mostest. Let's get you the stay you deserve. Hashtag Reesa in Europe. Now, whoever is paying for this, I'm sure that Reesa will require them to have proof of funds. But in the end, I'm just really happy for Reesa that she's going to get to take her dream vacation. And I'm just waiting for BMW to come through with her blue BMW X5 and the cognac interior. I am waiting for that one to happen. So far, I haven't seen it, but I'm crossing my fingers. I will tell you, I am kind of hoping that it is Susan Yara who's paying for Reesa's trip. I don't think that that was the payment that actually went through, just based on other things I've read online, but kind of hope it is Susan. Every week, there seems to be another celebrity that becomes a brand ambassador for a cosmetic company, whether it's fragrances or skincare or makeup. There's always somebody. I don't always talk about them, to be 100% with you, because I think a lot of them are just, they come and go, and there's so many of them. But this week, I thought the ones that dropped were pretty interesting, so I figured I would share with you. And the first one is an influencer who became a brand ambassador. And this doesn't happen as often as you would think. It used to, but not as much anymore. anymore. To be honest, I think that brands are a little nervous to back influencers at this point because you never know what's going to come out of an influencer's mouth, and a lot of them don't have PR agencies and all of that. So I don't blame the hesitation, is what it comes down to. But Hero Cosmetics is investing in an influencer, and they have chosen Alix Earle to be their brand ambassador. If you're not familiar, Alix is a podcast host. She's also really, really big in the beauty space on TikTok. Think the biggest influencers ever on YouTube. That's the way she is over on TikTok. She's very, very popular. Hero Cosmetics is the creator of the Mighty Patch pimple patches, and they hired Alix to be their very first brand ambassador. She will be the only person in the brand's upcoming campaigns with a focus of, quote, skin positivity, helping everybody find confidence in their skin and end the stigma around acne. Whether people want to admit it or not, and I think a lot of people don't want to admit it, TikTok is a viable career. It's just very few people get to the point of where Alix is. But to prove that it absolutely is a career path, Forbes mentioned Alix in their 30 under 30 for 2023, specifically for her personal brand growth. She's also launched the Alix Earle Scholarship at the University of Miami. I mean, she is really doing things. So I wish her all the best. I hope that the collaboration goes very well for her. As far as celebrity ambassadors go, this one might catch you a little by surprise because Pamela Anderson has been in the spotlight lately for specifically not wearing makeup. She went to Paris Fashion Week without any makeup on, and then recently she became the co-founder of a skincare line called Sansi Beauty, all of it about embracing your natural beauty. So it might surprise you that Pamela is promoting products for a makeup line using the makeup look that she wore back in the 90s. The focus of this campaign, though, isn't in the coloring cosmetics. It's actually on the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer. I'll go ahead and show you the ad right now.
Smashbox presents. It was just an ordinary day until Pamela unboxed.
For makeup looks that outlast time. What is this, a time machine?
This spring, Pamela Anderson travels through time.
Whoa. Throwback.
Experiencing the secret to makeup looks that stay all day, all night. See what happens when these two icons come together and discover they are iconic in every era.
Oh my god, that's Pamela Anderson.
Literally so iconic.
Starring Pamela Anderson and the original Photo Finish Primer with Leilani Green and Steph Way. Isn't it iconic? Two icons, serious staying power.
The campaign is called Isn't It Iconic? Two Icons, Serious Power. It celebrates and brings back Pamela's signature look of the 90s with glowing skin, thin eyebrows, and smoky eyes. In an apparent move to soften the side eye that Pamela, I believe, thought that she was going to get for promoting a makeup company, she said, "To each their own. Makeup is a fun extension of who we are, but it isn't all that we are." You may have noticed that the campaign also features two influencers, Steph H, boasting 1.2 million on Instagram, as well as Leilani Green. She has 2.1 million followers on Instagram. Personally, I think it is a very cute campaign. I am all for bringing back the 90s in any way that is fun. I was a kid of the 90s. I graduated high school in the mid-90s. So the 90s have a special place in my heart. Anytime cosmetic companies want to bring back that, I'm good. I'm solid. I'm happy with it. And I actually think this is a really cute campaign. Now, the last time I saw a partnership that was like this, it was the first time I'd ever seen a partnership quite like this. It was Anastasia Beverly Hills, and what they had done was they had sponsored Formula 4 racing driver Bianca Bustamante in the Macau Grand Prix. Unfortunately for Bianca, she did not do well in that race, but I would say it wasn't her fault. She was driving and a car kind of spun out in front of her. She smashed into the car and then she couldn't race anymore, which was such a bummer because that car really was very pretty. But hopefully, Charlotte Tilbury's DNA will be the magic touch for the next racer sponsored by a beauty brand. Charlotte Tilbury is actually the very first beauty brand, female-founded brand, to sponsor the F1 Academy. The initiative was launched by Formula One back in 2023 with the hopes of developing and preparing female drivers for higher levels of competition. Like in American football, Sometimes sports underestimate the number of people watching that may be interested in cosmetics. According to an article in Global Cosmetic News, 40% of Formula One viewers are female, and the goal of F1 Academy is specifically to increase female representation and, in turn, viewership. It didn't explicitly say viewership. I added that in, but I feel like that's a pretty strong connection. The Charlotte Tilbury car that you are seeing on the screen now will be driven by Lola Lovenfoss. She is 18 years old and she is from France. She has been racing since 2018. That is very, very young to start racing a car like that. That's incredible. I really do hope that the F1 Academy helps make the dreams come true of females who were never thought to be able to be a part of the racing community. I just recommend that they hold on to their lipstick because you never know with Charlotte Tilbury who's gonna steal it. For more information on where to see Lola racing the Charlotte Tilbury car, there is a list next to me, or you can head over to the Charlotte Tilbury website. They have an entire page dedicated to the partnership. And in legal news this week... Stop! We've talked recently about retail theft, and the sad thing about the story from the last time where we talked about this person being caught with $12,000 of stolen makeup in their car, I was able to find the legal documents to go along with that theft, and it turns out they were released from jail the very next day with no bail, no bond, nothing. I don't know if they have an upcoming I'm assuming they have an upcoming court case, but they were just released. That was it. It's just very discouraging that I feel like these thefts are continuing to happen because there don't seem to be strong consequences for them, at least in the immediate. This week we see some alleged thieves possibly getting some very significant consequences. Let's talk about it. So there is a woman, her name is Michelle Mack. Since 2019, it is believed that she has been running a cosmetic theft ring, that she has a whole team specifically of young women that go in and steal from cosmetic stores. The thefts are specifically in the state of California and they're centralized in San Diego County. And the $12,000 from last week pales in comparison to what this theft ring is believed to have stolen. So what they would do is they would steal the products from Ulta and Sephora and then they would turn around and sell them on Amazon. So their Amazon store was called Online Makeup Store. I don't know. Online Makeup Store was the name of it, and that's where they would sell the stolen goods. Upon arrest, law enforcement officers discovered $400,000 worth of stolen, yet to be sold products in Michelle's residence. They also found evidence of nearly $2 million in sales in 2022 and about $7.8 million over the course of several years. Michelle herself has roughly 140 felony counts, which includes organized retail theft, grand theft, and receipt of stolen property. I will keep my eye on this and let you know what happens. If I were to ask you the question, do influencers disclose ads? If you run in the same circles that I do, if you watch the same creators that I do, if you have suggestions like I do, you may have the same answer as I do, which is sometimes. It really depends on the person. We'll just rephrase. So across all of social media and all of the niches that are promoting sponsored content, that are getting paid to talk about products, what percent of those people do you think disclose that they are working with a brand and being paid to talk to you about a product? Of course, we will never know the answer to this for 100%, but we do have a peek into it thanks to the European Commission and national consumer protection authorities over in the EU. I would dare to say that what they found was worse than I even expected. Here's the data. They looked at almost 600 unnamed influencers from 22 member states along with Norway and Iceland. Platforms evaluated were Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and YouTube, quote, among other platforms. Not sure what those are, but among other platforms. 82 of them had at least 1 million followers. About 300 had over 100,000 followers, and the rest had at least 5,000 followers, but less than 100,000. 97% of the accounts they looked at promoted commercial content. And what they found was, this is the shocking part, only about 20% of them always disclose their ads. 20%. According to the report, by failing to disclose the commercial nature of these posts, the influencers are likely breaking EU consumer law. The least disclosed influencers, so the people that were not disclosing the most frequently, were fashion influencers, followed by lifestyle influencers, then beauty, then food. Other industries that they looked at included travel, fitness, sports. I thought I would continue to be absolutely horrified by this report, but I actually became a little less horrified the more I dug into the actual details of the report. I was like, I don't know about this. I would love to know what you think, though. This is what it says. It seems like almost half of them were promoting their own products on their own website. So my question is, did the people that are in their audience know that it was their brand and that's why they didn't disclose it? So like Laura Lee Los Angeles. Does Laura Lee need to say every single time that Laura Lee Los Angeles is her brand? I mean, it's got her name in it. Would somebody like Nikki Tutorials with Nimya, can she just assume that people who are following her on Instagram know that Nimya is her brand? According to this report, they're saying that the influencers need to disclose that it is their brand every single time that they post. It's important to note that this is different than in the US. With US rules, the influencer, if they feel like their audience already knows that it's their brand, they actually don't have to disclose. The report continues saying that a third of the influencers that they looked at didn't provide any company details about the brand in their posts, like the company name. Like, didn't even say what the name of the company was. So I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, how are we doing an advertisement for a company and not even saying the company name? Like, maybe it's printed on the product? Are we saying that when I hit this gavel, I'm promoting Law and... That was actually a little scary. I didn't need to push the button. What I'm saying is, am I promoting Law and Order by showing this? Am I promoting VAT 19, where I got this from, where I purchased it? Like, if they had sent this to me for free, am I supposed to disclose every time that I use it that this was sent to me for free, even though I'm not being paid to talk about it? Even though I did pay for this, just so you know. You get what I'm saying? Like, I can see where influencers might not disclose things that these people thought that they should be disclosing, especially in fashion, where you may be wearing something that you're not even talking about, but yet you got it for free. And technically it's a promotion. I don't know. What I'm saying is I can see where it's a little mushy for the influencers. So to me, this doesn't seem as egregious as the way that the headline said that it was. It says specifically that 38% of the influencers used the terms collaboration, partnership, or thank the brand rather than specifically saying that it was an ad or that it was sponsored. So it wasn't that they were fully not disclosing, that they were just completely hiding it. They were just not saying ad or sponsored. They were using other words common in the industry that are synonymous for ad or sponsored. As a result of the probe, the commission identified 358 of the influencers earmarked for further investigation, and they'll receive information about how to properly disclose. And the reason why is that there is a new Digital Services Act going in over there. It took effect on February 17th. And what's really important about this for anybody that makes content is that even if you are not based in the EU, if you have an audience in the EU, you still need to follow the EU regulations. You're still held to their standards. But the big question I always have with these stories is, what's the consequence? Is there a consequence? And if there is a consequence, will it be enforced? Because lack of disclosure is something that is running rampant, especially on TikTok. But it's also happening on YouTube. It's happening on Instagram. It's happening on Twitter. It's happening everywhere. But there doesn't seem to be a consequence. Like, you might say it's a consequence, but we don't see people actually feeling that consequence. And I think until then, I don't think anything is going to change. And I didn't see any consequence listed in this particular article. But as always, of course, if I see any updates where they're actually sharing what the consequence is or anybody is getting a consequence, I will let you know. Speaking of updates, we've been talking about this for freaking years, for a really long time, about eyeshadow, right? Of course, we've been talking about eyeshadow, but eyeshadow specifically that has these pigments in them. They're usually red pigments, and they're not technically FDA approved for eye use, but brands use them all the time in order to get more variations on the shades that they can create. So they may be able to get a brighter pink or a brighter red or just a different tone of purple or something like that, because they're using these pigments instead of carmine or red 40, which are the only two red pigments that are FDA approved for eye use in the US. US. When companies started using these pigments, the number of choices of colors just opened up tremendously. But the problem is, like I said, they're not technically FDA approved for eye use, so we have seen a few class action lawsuits being filed against some of these companies. The big ones that I've seen are Huda Beauty, ColourPop, and Morphe. After the ColourPop suit was dismissed by the judge, because the judge was basically like, this is an FDA issue. This is not a class action issue. If you have an issue with the way that ColourPop is selling their products, go to the FDA and let them know that they're violating FDA regulations. Don't bring a class action lawsuits because you have not actually physically been hurt by this product. This isn't our realm. Go complain to the FDA. So after that happened, classaction.org, which is one of the websites that I keep up on pretty regularly, they launched their own investigation with their own attorneys to see if they could find anybody that had been actually really hurt by these eyeshadow pigments. The attorneys were specifically looking at products from ABH, BH Cosmetics, Jeffree Star Cosmetics, Juvia's Place, Lemonhead LA, MAC, Makeup Forever, Makeup a Murder, Marin Makeup, NYX Cosmetics, Pat McGrath Cosmetics, Revolution Beauty, Stila, and Violet Voss. Though we don't know the details of this, the new information here is that the attorneys have decided that they have finished their investigation on this matter. That's all it says. They've finished the investigation. This could mean that they are in the middle of developing some class action lawsuits, or it could mean that nobody really came forward and said anything that would be class actionable, that would be worth going and filing a class action lawsuit. The most potentially damaging pigment lawsuit of the ones that I mentioned was the Morphe one. And the reason why this one seemed like it actually had teeth to it was that people had actually claimed that they were suffering from severe eye irritation, skin discoloration and staining, rashes, allergic reactions, and other, quote, painful and embarrassing condition that could reportedly last for days. But we will probably never know what would have happened in that lawsuit because that claim is actually, it's been what they call stayed or put on hold, and because, Morphe filed for bankruptcy. So they're not able to continue to be class action lawsuited. But I really do feel like the ColourPop one being dismissed was a kind of the nail in the coffin for this topic as far as class action lawsuits go. I would highly doubt we're going to see any more class action lawsuits when it comes to this particular topic. What we might see and what I hope we see is an update from the FDA that clears these pigments for eye use the way that they're cleared in the EU. In Science News today, we are talking mostly about Sephora Kids because things have gotten a little bit worse in that realm. I did that full video on Sephora Kids going to Sephora, Ulta, wherever, and getting skincare meant for adults, putting it on their face, and how that could be potentially very dangerous for the kids. It could be harmful. Some skincare, most skincare is not meant for child skin. It's meant for adult skin that has adult problems, things that the adults want to change. Most kids don't have these issues, therefore they don't need the adult skincare. But these kids thinking that they want this stuff are going out and buying it and then using it, and now we have photographic evidence of one particular child that now has skin damage because of it. Now, I learned quite a bit from doing the video that I did, and a lot of what I learned was in the comment section underneath my video from actual children who are people who presented themselves as children, wrote like children, told me what they thought of my video. So some of them, about half of them, I would say, were very kind of disgusted by the actions of their peers, saying, why are these kids buying these complicated skincare routines? I only use a gentle cleanser. I only use a moisturizer, just really kind of saying this is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know why my peers are doing this. The other half were kids yelling at me, telling me, leave the kids alone. Stop telling us what to do. We know what we're doing. We can do what we want. Like that kind of stuff. I mean, it was pretty typical kid behavior. It's totally fine. It was a pretty typical kid reaction. If the kids had watched it, they probably would know that I wasn't telling them what to do. I was just kind of giving advice and letting them know, but that's beside the point. But this story is specifically why I will not leave them alone and why parents should not be leaving them alone either. This photo was posted to the Instagram account of a woman named Jenny Poulos. Now, I'm not big in the reality TV, I don't watch a ton of it, so I'm not familiar with her, but apparently she was on Bravo's Flipping Out. She was the assistant to the guy that flips flips houses. It's a reality TV show. This was her post that she put up of her friend's daughter. The reason why she said she put it up was because she wanted to make parents aware that this can happen. She wants parents to pay attention to what kids are watching on social media and what skincare they are buying. The picture is courtesy of her friend Rachel Rack, who is a Broadway star. This is what she said. This is her lovely 9-year-old daughter and our dear friend. After using these products that at Sephora, at Ulta, she tagged them, said were fine for her, this is what happened. Start paying attention to what influencers and social media are saying is cool, hip, and okay for your children at Bubble, at Drunk Elephant, at Glow Recipe, because those are the 3 brands that this little girl was using. The products in the photo, if you zoom in, are the Bubble Cloud Surf Water Cream Moisturizer, the Drunk Elephant B Hydra Intensive Hydration Serum, and probably the culprit of this big issue that the daughter is having, the Glow Recipe Strawberry Smooth BHA plus AHA Salicylic Acid Serum. Now, this is the first post that I've personally seen where a parent is posting the effects of this kind of skincare on a 9-year-old, but I'm sure that there are more kids going through this than what's being posted in front of my eyes on social media. What parents need to realize, in my opinion, is that it is not the brand's responsibility to make sure that your kid has an appropriate skincare routine. It's not even the responsibility of the Sephora and Ulta employees. That being said, I do think that Sephora and Ulta employees need a basic education in skincare ingredients for different skin types, different ages, things like that. I think that's just smart retail, that the employees know a little bit about the products that they're selling. So if somebody comes in and asks for a recommendation, they can give an educated recommendation. I mean, it doesn't have to be deep, esthetician level, understanding of things, dermatologist level understanding of things, but just a basic of what does vitamin C do? What does an AHA do? What does BHA do? And maybe even have like a little reference sheet that they can grab, if they're, wanting to know, if somebody wants to know what kind of product is right for them. I think that that's just good business. But in the end, it is the parent's responsibility of making sure that the child has an appropriate skincare routine. This is a 9-year-old. She cannot legally work. She cannot have a job and earn her own money. She must be getting her money from her parents. Therefore, her parents need to know what she is spending that money on. It is not social media's responsibility to babysit your child. Rochelle did respond to the post on Jenny's Instagram. It was a little hard for me to understand exactly what she was saying, but this was what I gathered from it. She starts off thanking Jenny for the post and saying that she's hearing all the points of view. Quote, parenting is no joke and I work hard at it. She goes on to say, I do feel that it would be helpful to not encourage this sort of purchasing. I agree. I think it would help parents to see negatives on social media about them. I think she's saying that parents need to do their research, is what I'm gathering. But then she talks about restricting social media in order to take care of this problem, which I have no problems with restrictions on social media. Don't get me wrong. I think kids should be restricted with how much social media they can use 100%. But I don't think that this is an appropriate application of that, because I feel like it's not the social media's problem. It's the lack of education. It's teaching your kid that if they see something on TikTok, you can't take that as science. You have to go to see scientific resources to see whether something is good for you. It's about the opportunity for education. This is a teachable moment, people. It's a teachable moment. Science is cool. Science is cool. Skincare is cool. We need to add to the knowledge that the child is getting, not saying, okay, I'm just going to take that away. Okay, you just can't have that anymore. But why? But why? Instead of just taking something away, instead teaching the child how to navigate what I should trust and what I should be skeptical of, how to find good information. That should be the focus, not just, well, I'm just going to take away social media. It's like, that is not going to solve the problem, and chances are if your kid has a phone, they're going to try to figure out a way around your restrictions anyway. All in all, I 100% do not blame the child in this situation. I just hope that she feels better soon, that her skin has healed, and that she's learned a lesson from this. And hopefully, it doesn't sound like her mom is going to encourage it, but hopefully she does some research on her own. And maybe this will lead to a career in cosmetic chemistry for her. I hope so. If not a career in cosmetic chemistry, maybe just a little bit of education on why we use skincare. Why do adults use it? Why might kids want to use it? And then going from there. There are products that kids can use absolutely safely. And I hope that this little lady has a safe place to do that exploration. The other thing that would be great in this space is to have brands coming out with education just voluntarily. And of course, the brand we're going to talk about this week that is doing this is The Ordinary. Here's the picture they put on Instagram this week. It says, "Teens, you don't need 10 steps." And the caption says, "Social media is loud, and we know with every new launch, it can be tempting to expand your regimen. But skin is an organ, and it's still developing during teenage years, and sometimes less really is more." So we wanted to take a moment to share guidance straight from our lab for those of you just stepping into skincare. And then, sweet validation moment for me, they give the advice that I gave in that video. It's like, yay! You know, the validation, no matter where you are in life, it's nice to know that you're on the right track and doing the right thing. So this is what they said. Number 1, use a non-stripping cleanser. Number 2, follow with a hydrating moisturizer. And number 3, protect the skin with sunscreen. They also say to avoid using retinols and AHAs and talking to a doctor or dermatologist if they have skin concerns. The final line in the post is no need for a complex 10-step routine or hefty price tags. Good for you, The Ordinary. Good for you. And finally, I didn't really have a lighthearted story this week. I tried to find something, I couldn't find anything, so scrolling Instagram, and this is what I found. If you're not familiar with Beekman 1802, they produce goat milk-based skincare, and in the spring, they have a baby goat cam, where you can actually watch the baby goats and see what they're doing during the day, and it is so adorable and cute, and this is the post that they put up, kind of getting us ready for spring. The caption is, "That feeling when you make it to the weekend." Check it out. I mean, who doesn't love baby goats? I know I love baby goats. So what better way to end the show than with baby goats? That's the end of What's Up in Makeup this week. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you, as always, to the What's Up in Makeup Facebook hunters. Their names are scrolling below me. Thank you for all of your submissions this week. I appreciate you more than words could ever say. Our chat today is going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Hopefully you can join us, hang out, talk about makeup, but if you can't join us, it's no problem at all. You can catch it on the replay by going to my channel page, clicking on the live tab. They're all housed there. You can also check out the link down below to the What's Up in Makeup live chat podcast. You can click there and find all of the live chats that we've done since the beginning of 2023. And beyond that, the easiest way is to subscribe, because if you subscribe, it's just going to be hanging out in your subscription feed. It's going to be right there for you. You don't even have to take any extra steps. You don't have to look anywhere. It's going to be right there for you. So that is the best and easiest way to make sure that you see any content that pops up. You cannot trust the YouTube homepage to recommend the content you want to watch. The best way to make sure you see what you want to see is to subscribe to your favorite channels. And with that being said, thank you again so much for watching. If you would like to hang out a little longer, YouTube should be recommending a couple videos for you over here to watch, including last week's top news segment. If you missed it because YouTube didn't recommend it, it's going to be right there. YouTube's going to pick the top one based on your viewing history, which one they think you're going to like the best. But if you do got to go because you got stuff to do, it is no problem at all. Thank you for hanging out as long as you did, and mad love to you, and I will see you in a video very, very soon. Bye!